So we've come to the end of 2018 and with that all the smartphone launches as well.
I truly hope so.
Well, you know what? I know that might be a bit of a stretch, but there is one thing that's not a stretch is that we've seen some stupendously good smartphones under rupees 20,000 this year.
Yes, we have, and which is why we decided to end the year 2018 with a bang, with a classic Mr. Phone style camera comparison,
Right.
one that pulls no stops.
That's right. And you know what? We've actually gone out and gotten all the phones that we think have the best cameras under rupees 20,000. They're all laid out in front of you. There's the Mi A2, there's the Honor 8X, there's the Realme 2 Pro, there's the Redmi Note 6 Pro, and the Zenfone Max Pro M2. In fact, a lot of our readers and our users have been actually asking for a comparison of the Redmi Note 6 Pro with
And
the Zenfone Max
Asus
Pro M2.
Zenfone Max Pro M2, yes.
So we decided to go all out with it
Yes,
instead.
and we actually followed a massive process. We analyzed more than 100 images, and we have actually made a points table because, of course, it was becoming very difficult to analyze all of them and keep count, but also because it becomes easy for you to take a look at, easy for us to analyze. We'll show you that points table at the end of this video, but
You know what? I'm really excited about it. You know what are we waiting for now? I'm Ershad from Mr. Phone.
this is Sreehari from Mr. Phone.
Let's get this final camera comparison started.
And before jumping into the video, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that, and also hit the bell icon because it's Christmas.
Oh yeah, and that subscribe button is red in color.
Let's quickly take a look at the camera specs of all the 5 phones. We won't waste any time here. If you want to compare the specs, pause the video right now and take one long look at it.
The camera app is the first thing that most people explore when they buy a new smartphone, and Asus has completely dropped the ball on that one. The Zenfone Max Pro M2 has one of the most tedious and badly laid out camera app UIs. It does no justice to the great sensors used by the hardware. To know how bad it is, there's no portrait mode for selfies.
The Honor 8X, on the other hand, has the trademark Honor camera app. It is packed with features, but even simple settings like HDR are difficult to reach. HDR is slotted inside more settings within the camera app, but for folks who like AI, the 8X offers an AI option up front. By the way, for testing purposes, we used both the Redmi Note 6 Pro and the Honor 8X with AI off, which is the default setting anyway. The reason for this is that the AI mode only tends to boost the colors and makes images look unnatural. Take a look at these 2 samples for yourself.
Coming back to the camera app, our third favorite app is the one on the Realme 2 Pro. It has a very iOS inspired layout, but it is clean and easy to navigate through all the camera features. In fact, it is better than iOS in some ways where you can change the resolution of the video directly from the app itself.
But our absolute favorite app is the Xiaomi camera app used on both the Mi A2 and the Redmi Note 6 Pro. Both the apps are well laid out, making it easy to quickly capture an image. It is a premium camera app experience in this price range. Again, it is a very iOS inspired app, but everything works and everything is accessible. Before we jump into the actual comparison, please allow us to explain to you our process. So what we did is that we took pictures in 15 different scenarios using these 5 phones, and we actually have a scoring system in place where we put all the scores for all these images and analyze them.
Yeah, you know what, we've tried to be as objective as possible as well,
Yes, we have.
with some of our subjective opinions as well, but we know for a fact that our choices may be different from yours.
Yes.
And for which reason we've actually put out all the high-res pictures in a description in the link below. So if you want to actually double check our observations with yours, you can do that. Don't forget to download the images from the links below because those are the high-res actual resolution images as well.
And also, if you think that your opinions differ from ours, please let us know that in the comment section below. We would love to jump down there and see what you think about the pictures.
You know what? Apart from being analytical, this should be a fun comparison as well. So let's get started. Let's start off with the wide shot, which helps us check the sensor performance and gives us an idea of the color temperature as well. First things first, the Zenfone Max Pro M2 has blown out the exposure in the sky badly. Mind you, we used the camera's autofocus, and despite multiple attempts, the Max Pro M2 decided to botch the exposure every single time. Also, taking a look at the Honor 8X's sample, you will notice that it looks dull compared to the other shots. It has details but no dynamic range whatsoever. Now, between the Realme 2 Pro, the Redmi Note 6 Pro and the Mi A2, the competition started getting intense. We had a tough time slotting them on the podium. One thing that we were sure of is the Mi A2 offered far more sensor details and a better control over the dynamic range. But The Redmi Note 6 Pro offers a great color science with a great portrayal of the gradient in the sky. However, the Realme 2 Pro has a really balanced image too. We quite liked it. In the end though, the Mi A2 edged out the Redmi Note 6 Pro and the Realme 2 Pro as the winner.
In our second round, we went closer to our subject and shot two flowers, one in red and the other one in yellow. The Honor 8X ended up at the bottom of the table thanks to the rear camera capturing a very oversaturated red. The picture has little to no dynamic details either. The same is the case with the yellow flower as well. It looks dull and dreary. Surprisingly, our first round winner, the Mi A2, ends up at the fourth spot. This is because the picture of the red flower has completely mishit the exposure. Also, this kept happening despite multiple attempts. The yellow flower, on the other hand, looks good, only a tad underexposed. The third spot in this round, like in the previous one, goes to the Realme 2 Pro once again. It offers a better exposure in the shot of the yellow flower, and more importantly, the red in the second sample has been rendered accurately as it looks closer to the original color. But the reason why it doesn't beat the other two is because of the cooler color temperature. We are left with the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M2 and the Redmi Note 6 Pro, two new phones, two new sensors and algorithms. It gets really interesting here because the sample of the yellow flower shot by the phones look very similar. The Max Pro M2 edges ahead of the Redmi Note 6 Pro thanks to the slightly more contrasty pixel-like image, and the red flower, the Zenfone Max Pro M2, offers cleaner lines in the veins of the flower with more details. Honestly, if you aim it right and spend time with getting the right focus, you can get a good shot with the Realme 2 Pro, Zenfone Max Pro M2 or the Redmi Note 6 Pro.
Let's move on to the mode that seems to be a big draw nowadays, the portrait mode. Starting off with the Zenfone Max Pro M2, the portrait shot from this phone botches up the exposure. You will clearly see that Ashish's face is lit unevenly. Also, the picture has oversaturated colors as well. Moreover, if you look at the top of Ashish's hair, the algorithm forgets to blur out the building. In the fourth spot is the Redmi Note 6 Pro because of low details, but the cutout and the blur effect looks good. In the third spot is the Honor 8X. It does an amazing job with the cutout, we really like it. However, the color of Ashish's maroon sweater looks red and the blur effect is slightly too pronounced for our liking. The Realme 2 Pro takes our second favorite portrait shot because of the very believable portrait blur and the incredible amount of details on offer. But compared to our number one portrait shot captured by the Mi A2, the Realme 2 Pro lacks the contrast. We don't even have to lay it out for you guys, the Mi A2's portrait shot is really good. It continues to impress us with its camera chops.
We took an HDR sample, first one with HDR off and then HDR on. Right off the bat, the Honor 8X's reproduction of the sky is not very accurate and the whole image looks quite dull. The HDR mode also does very little to bring out the details from the shadows and the highlights. The Realme 2 Pro does a good job of cutting out the flare of the sun. However, the Realme 2 Pro's HDR image adds noise around the corners and there are traces of chromatic aberration as well. The third position in this round was captured by the Zenfone Max Pro M2. The phone's HDR algorithm does a great job of bringing out details from the shadows. Having said that, the Mi A2's shot has an added dash of dynamism thanks to the great contrast. Also, even with HDR off, the picture offers a good dynamic range. But the real MVP in this round is the Redmi Note 6 Pro. The phone does a great job of exposing the picture well with HDR off, and with HDR on, it goes one step further to bring out even more details from the highlights. It's a great picture overall with good colors and great control over the dynamic range as well.
Okay, I have a confession to make. You know what, Shree, I don't mind taking selfies once in a while, but man, I'm never going to use the Zenfone Max Pro M2 to take one. It makes me look like a makeup person dragged me to the side and applied a coat of paint on my face. The Redmi Note 6 Pro selfie, on the other hand, has this greenish tint, almost like it's trying to desaturate the picture and make it, look non-warm on purpose. Moving on to the Honor 8X, it takes a great selfie that looks good at first glance, with its warm color tones and good details. But closer inspection reveals that the Honor 8X is artificially sharpening the photos. In comparison, the Realme 2 Pro does not resort to any such artificial sharpening, keeps things simple and takes a really good selfie. As a matter of fact, its sister phone, the Realme U1, will possibly take a better shot than the Realme 2 Pro in our collective opinion. But you know what, we're comparing the Realme 2 Pro here, so that doesn't count. However, our most favorite selfie was captured by the Mi A2. The main reason why we think the Mi A2's selfie is great is because the incredible details and textures on offer. It looks plain stunning and blows the competition out of the water. The exposure is great, the facial tones are near accurate. What else could you ask for?
The Zenfone Max Pro M2 is out of contention in the selfie portrait round because, funnily enough, the front camera doesn't support bokeh mode. Moving on, the Honor 8X's portrait selfie does an average job of the cutout. Take a look at Ershad's jacket on his left shoulder, the 8X has blurred it out. The Redmi Note 6 Pro once again looks a little off with its green tinge. Moreover, the cutout is a little too aggressive and the level of blur is higher than we'd have ideally liked. The Mi A2 selfie portrait is similar with a better color temperature. The best selfie portrait shot, however, has been captured by the Realme 2 Pro. The cutout is great and so is the level of blur. Yes, the face looks a little too pink, but the depth effect looks pretty believable. Undoubtedly, the Realme 2 Pro comes out on top in this round.
If you like capturing videos using the front camera for some light vlogging, the Honor 8X might not serve the purpose. We tested it and found that it had the worst sound recording of all the phones. Also, the image was very flat and lifeless for a compressed footage. Add to that, there was no image stabilization as such.
Hi guys, I'm shooting a video using the Honor 8X right now. We're testing the front camera for its image quality and its sound quality as well. Do let us know in the comment section below what you thought about it. Let me just pan around a little bit and show you guys if it can hold on to focus and what happens when you move around.
As for our phone in the fourth spot, the Mi A2, it sounded average and the lack of image stabilization was a bit of a letdown too.
Hi guys, I'm shooting a video using the front camera on the Mi A2. We're checking its sound quality and image quality right now. Do let us know in the comment section below what you think about it. And you know what I'll do right now is I'll just turn around a little bit and show you guys if it can keep focus or not. Alright.
The third spot in this round goes to the Realme 2 Pro. It is a great footage with an incredible amount of details too. In the initial portion of the video, you might see some highlight clipping in the background because we were shooting against the light, but the moment I switch around, the colors and the exposure improves drastically. Only thing lacking in the Realme 2 Pro's video footage is electronic image stabilization and good sound quality.
Hi guys, I'm shooting a video using the Realme 2 Pro's front camera, and do let us know in the comment section below what you thought about the sound quality and the picture quality as well. What I'll do right now is I will pan around a little bit and show you guys if it can keep focus and if it works properly or not. Alright.
Moving on, the Zenfone Max Pro M2 turned out to be the dark horse in this round. For some odd reason, Asus thought it was important to add stabilization to the footage. Yes, this means that the footage is cropped slightly, but we don't care. The Max Pro M2 offers the best stabilization of the lot. The video quality is good too, and we have no complaints with the sound quality either.
Hi guys, I'm shooting a video using the Zenfone Max Pro M2's front camera. Do let us know in the comment section below what you thought about the picture quality and the sound quality. And what I'll do right now is I'll turn around a little bit. You can see that it's cropped quite a bit, honestly, compared to the other phones. Alright.
But once again, the Redmi Note 6 Pro comes out on top with a stunning front camera video. From the get-go, you will find decent stabilization, very little highlight clipping in the background, and an incredibly detailed sound recording, albeit a bit artificial. Also, the footage has brilliant color tones as well. Yup, the Redmi Note 6 Pro comes out on top in this round.
Hi guys, I'm shooting a video using the front camera on the Redmi Note 6 Pro. We're checking the sound quality and the image quality for this massive camera comparison. Do let us know in the comment section below what you thought about it. Now what I'll do is I'll just turn around a little bit and show you guys if the phone can keep things in focus or not. Alright.
In our next test, we use the cameras on these phones to shoot a 1080p video. First things first, the Honor 8X completely drops the ball on the quality with no stabilization and an extremely dull and dreary footage. Surprisingly, joining the 8X at the bottom of the table is Mi A2. While the colors and details are aplenty in the footage, you will notice that the Mi A2 struggles with exposure control and there is a strange jellying effect as well. Weirdly, even the sound quality is not too great.
Hey guys, we're shooting a video using the rear cameras on the Redmi Note 6 Pro and the Mi A2. We are testing out the stabilization, the video quality and the sound quality as well as Shree backtracks me. I'll move around now so that we can figure out if it can keep focus, one, and what happens to the dynamic range when you turn it up.
In the third spot is the Zenfone Max Pro M2. While the footage is slightly underexposed on Ershad's face, it does so to keep the overexposed background in check. The details are fine though. However, the moment the camera moves around and the light falls on the subject's face, the Zenfone's footage starts looking more impressive. But it is the Realme 2 Pro that offers a great exposure on the face and also manages to keep the background's overexposure in check. And also, the moment the phone starts shooting the subject in front of the light, the footage looks even better. However, the sound recording could have been better in our opinion.
Hey guys, we're shooting a full HD video using the Realme 2 Pro and the Honor 8X right now. Since this is a massive comparison, I can't remember the names of the phones, but there are so many phones out there. And what we're testing out right now is the stabilization and the sound quality and the video quality as well. I'll turn around a little bit so that Sri can pan me around and check if the phone keeps me in focus and if it can stabilize properly as well.
The best looking footage with only a few quirks is the Redmi Note 6 Pro. We will see that 1080p video from the Redmi Note 6 Pro has great dynamic range and looks pretty damn stunning.
We moved indoors and immediately pictures by the Realme 2 Pro and the Honor 8X looks unimpressive. The Honor 8X does a decent job with the facial tones though. You know what, let's just forget about these two for now because they are not in the top 3. In fact, when you look at the pictures from the Redmi Note 6 Pro, the Zenfone Max Pro M2 and the Mi A2, which are in the top 3 by the way, at first glance you will be hard pressed to find out any differences. While the Redmi Note 6 Pro botches up the color temperature with a weird green tint once again, the Max Pro M2 does a good job with the color exposure and therefore we place it in the second spot over the Redmi Note 6 Pro. In the end, the best shot of all with incredible amount of details and a good color accuracy was captured by the Mi A2.
This is one of the most important rounds, primarily because we know a lot of people take a ton of selfies in incandescent lighting conditions indoor. The Zenfone Max Pro M2 and surprisingly the Mi A2 take very soft selfies. Between the Redmi Note 6 Pro, the Realme 2 Pro and the Honor 8X, the 8X takes an incredibly detailed selfie with superb facial tones and therefore wins this round very easily.
Okay, let's start stressing the phones. I love this. When the going gets dark, the Honor 8X struggles with exposure control and the Mi A2 goes for a very contrast heavy picture with fewer details than daylight shots. It does look good, but you know what, when you go close in, it doesn't look that good anymore. Taking the third spot in this round is the Realme 2 Pro. What we like about the picture is the very restrained exposure with a great control over the light emanating from the bulb. The first two spots are taken up by the Redmi Note 6 Pro and the Zenfone Max Pro M2. The Redmi Note 6 Pro takes a nice and warm picture that looks very pleasing to the eye with a good amount of details as well. But the Zenfone Max Pro M2 looks great on closer inspection with a sharper image. This was not very surprising considering Asus actually promised better low-light performance and delivers on that front convincingly.
If you switch on the flash, the Mi A2 just smokes the competition out of water. That's all that you need to know and it is evident from the samples here.
Coming to low-light selfies, which we honestly think everyone must avoid without the flash, the Realme 2 Pro shot is the only one that looks worthy of sharing on social media websites with a little bit of tuning. Otherwise, most of these selfie shots are worthless due to very soft details and inaccurate colors. Regardless, we've scored them for the final table, which you will see in a little bit. Patience, my friends, is a virtue.
If you really want to take selfies in less than ideal lighting conditions, use the flash on the front. With the dedicated front flash, the Mi A2's shot unsurprisingly looks the best of the lot. The Zenfone Max Pro M2 has a dedicated front flash too, but the front camera is not that great by default and therefore even the flash cannot save it from being at the bottom of the table. The Redmi Note 6 Pro, the Realme 2 Pro and the Honor 8X take the second, third and fourth spot respectively. Note that all the phones light up the display to compensate for the lack of a front flash. So that's it ladies and gents, we have our final points tally and if you want to take a look at all the scores you can pause the video right now. But as you can clearly see, the Mi A2 stands first, the Redmi Note 6 Pro stands second and the Realme 2 Pro stands third. Although the one thing that Ershad and me noticed, and even you can clearly see with the difference in the points of the three phones, that there is not a big difference between the three phones. It doesn't matter what phone you buy because you're gonna get a good camera experience out of it regardless. So it depends on what other parts of the phone are there, what the display is like, what you like in the display or the software. But the camera experience is going to be pretty similar.
Yeah. While that holds true for the three phones in the first three spots, there are two other phones in this battle. The Zenfone Max Pro M2 and the Honor 8X, they take the fourth and the fifth spot respectively. Now talking about the Zenfone Max Pro M2, it takes good pictures in low light conditions, but the selfies are a bit of a hit and a miss. But that camera app, oh my god, that's a bit of a travesty.
It is.
I really think that Asus needs to work on that app desperately and bring out a better camera app in the next version of the Zenfone Max Pro series. And while you talk about the Honor 8X, it actually does better selfies for sure. It has a good amount of details and a good facial tone as well. But the Honor 8X, it drops the ball when you switch off the AI, and even with AI on, there's a lot of saturation, so that's not pretty cool. So it really needs to do something with the algorithm, and I really hope that Honor does something to fix that.
But all in all, the one thing that me and Ershad agree on unanimously is the fact that Xiaomi has worked a lot behind the scenes on the camera app, on the camera experience, on the pictures that come out. I think it's the absolute best. When you think about the best smartphone cameras to buy under 20,000.
I think the Mi A2 takes the top spot, at least according to our list.
Yes.
And the Redmi Note 6 Pro is not far behind.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly,
both the phones, whichever one you pick, actually, you will not be disappointed.
Yes.
So that's it from us. That was a massive camera comparison of mid-range smartphones. I hope you guys liked it. I know that a lot of people were waiting for this kind of video.
Yes, and actually what we're going to do is we are also going to work on a flagship camera comparison and year-ender for the year 2018. So you can also, what you can do is let us know in the comment section what flagships do you think should feature in that camera comparison. We have our idea, but we would love to know from you what cameras you want included in that. But I guess with that we come to an end of this video.
Absolutely.
This is Sreehari from Mr. Phone.
I'm Ershad from Mr. Phone. Goodbye.
And happy holidays.